Building as we get closer to production at the Toyota battery plant.
That massive $14 billion facility at the Greensboro-Randolph megasite is just weeks away from making their first shipments.
Toyota's move toward Canada didn't unfold like a typical corporate pivot. It rose from a trail of clues that appeared almost overnight, signals that a company long rooted in America's industrial landscape was preparing for something far bigger than a routine adjustment. The pressure behind that turn built with remarkable speed. U.S. tariffs placed nearly $800 billion in potential losses on the table, forcing Toyota into a high-stakes evaluation of everything from its supply chain to its long-term presence in the American market. Profit alerts soon followed as the company braced for a projected 21% decline in 2025. The numbers painted a harsh picture. More than $1 billion gone due to Trump-era tariffs, billions more lost to currency swings and soaring material costs. At the same time, Toyota's output revealed the scale of what was at risk. With millions of vehicles built in Japan and hundreds of thousands exported to the United States each year. That tension reached American workers quickly. Governors and local officials questioned whether the company was beginning to drift away from the United States while forming deeper ties with Ontario and Quebec. Toyota Canada's leadership responded in a calm and confident tone, emphasizing long-term commitment and a strategic horizon that extended far beyond short-term political storms. Their message hinted at something transformative, a shift with the potential to reshape the balance of power in North America's EV sector. So, what does this movement north really signal? Is Toyota reacting to tariffs alone, or is North America witnessing the early stages of a much larger realignment? The story surrounding Toyota's northward shift begins with far more than a dispute over tariffs or profit projections, because the conditions that shaped this decision formed across an entire system that was struggling to find equilibrium. The United States had built an environment where the cost of doing business climbed steadily, while the rules changed at a pace that outstripped the ability of large manufacturers to plan. For a company that relies on long-term stability, a mix of steel and component tariffs, a weakening dollar, unpredictable incentives, and a patchwork of regulatory changes made every major investment feel uncertain. Each new policy turn created complications that rippled through Toyota's operations, turning straightforward planning into a series of strategic recalculations. That uncertainty began to affect projects that were once viewed as pillars of Toyota's U.S. presence. The company had expected its EV production line in Kentucky to enter full momentum earlier, yet delays pushed the new timeline into mid-2026. That shift disrupted years of preliminary coordination, workforce preparation, and supplier commitments. Meanwhile, concerns grew around the Tacoma program, and whether relocating production to Texas would become necessary to avoid penalties linked to Mexican assembly. Decisions that had once been rooted in efficiency and consumer demand increasingly revolved around tariffs, incentives, and changing definitions of compliance. The supply chain, as a result, started to feel like an unpredictable circuit where costs rose sharply with every new policy announcement. The challenges facing Toyota's EV segment were even more complex. Electric vehicle production requires a steady stream of specialized materials, components, and regulatory clarity, and the United States struggled to meet these needs. The Inflation Reduction Act established strict standards for where materials must originate in order for vehicles to qualify for crucial tax credits. American suppliers, however, were unable to provide enough components that met these requirements. Toyota needed partners who could deliver materials that satisfied the legislation's criteria, and if those partners could not be found domestically, the company would have no choice but to look abroad. This created a situation where unpredictability surrounded both the cost and the compliance of every project. Canada's importance became even more pronounced when analyzed through the structure of the EV supply chain. The United States holds sizable mineral resources, but it lacks the refining infrastructure necessary to support a large-scale EV transition. Canada, on the other hand, offers both